There are moments in life, rare and profound, when a person shares something with you. It could be a simple thought, a fleeting experience, or perhaps a deep-seated fear or dream. But the act of sharing, genuine sharing, is not trivial. It's a moment of vulnerability, a window into someone's inner world. When a man shares something with you, particularly something personal, you're not merely a bystander, you are being invited into a space few are granted access to. Vulnerability and trust are at the heart of any meaningful relationship. They are not mere concepts, they are essential components that shape the depth of our connections with others. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something to be avoided at all costs. Yet, true vulnerability is a profound strength. It is the courage to be exposed, to show the parts of ourselves that are imperfect, fragile, or even broken. It is the willingness to open up, to share our inner fears, desires, and wounds without the certainty of how the other person will respond. Trust is the foundation upon which vulnerability is built. Without trust, vulnerability is not possible. Trust is something that must be earned over time through consistent actions, reliability, and understanding. It is the quiet assurance that the person to whom we reveal our deepest selves will not betray us, will not use our openness against us. Trust is a fragile thing, easily shattered by betrayal or dishonesty, and yet it is the only soil in which vulnerability can grow. When trust is established, we feel safe enough to be vulnerable. We feel that we can let down our guard, that we do not need to constantly protect ourselves from judgment or rejection. The process of vulnerability is inherently risky. It requires us to relinquish control over how we are perceived, to put aside our defenses and allow another person to see us as we truly are, not the polished version we present to the world. There is always the possibility of rejection, misunderstanding, or judgment, but it is only through vulnerability that we can form real, authentic connections. Without it, relationships remain shallow, limited to surface-level interactions that never touch the core of who we are. Vulnerability is the bridge that allows people to connect on a deeper level, to move beyond the masks and facades that we often wear. Vulnerability cannot exist in isolation. It requires trust to thrive. If a person does not trust you, they will not expose themselves to you. Trust is the assurance that, even when a person is at their most exposed, they will not be taken advantage of or dismissed. When someone chooses to be vulnerable with you, it is a sign that they trust you to handle their honesty with care. It is an invitation to engage with them at a deeper level, to recognize the gravity of their openness and respond with empathy and respect. Trust, in turn, is nurtured through the consistent honoring of vulnerability. When someone shares something personal, it is an opportunity to show that you can be trusted with their inner world. It is not enough to simply hear their words. You must also listen with compassion, validate their feelings, and offer a response that respects their vulnerability. In doing so, you reinforce the trust that has been established, creating a cycle where vulnerability and trust can continue to flourish. Without vulnerability, relationships remain incomplete. Without trust, vulnerability is impossible. These two forces work in tandem, creating a dynamic where both individuals can grow, connect, and evolve. Vulnerability and trust are not just characteristics of a healthy relationship, they are its very essence. The willingness to be vulnerable with another person and the ability to trust them with your vulnerabilities creates a bond that is unbreakable, rooted in the deepest aspects of the human experience. Emotional honesty is the cornerstone of authentic communication and a true connection between people. It is the act of being transparent about one's emotions, expressing feelings without manipulation or concealment. In a world that often values composure, emotional honesty can feel like a rare and powerful form of expression. To be emotionally honest means to speak openly about what one is experiencing, whether that experience is joy, sorrow, confusion, fear, or hope. It's the ability to share feelings not as a form of self-pity or an attempt to gain sympathy, but as an invitation to be understood, to be seen for who you truly are. Emotional honesty is about shedding the layers of pretense and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. In many aspects of life, we are taught to suppress emotions, to present a calm and composed exterior, especially in situations where our emotional state might be seen as a weakness. However, emotional honesty requires the courage to move beyond these constraints. It asks us to embrace our feelings without shame, to acknowledge our emotional landscape, and to communicate it honestly with others. The courage to be emotionally honest is a reflection of self-respect, an acknowledgement that our feelings matter and deserve to be heard. The significance of emotional honesty lies in its ability to foster deeper connections. When we are emotionally honest, we create a space where others can do the same. It breaks down walls of silence and misunderstanding, allowing for genuine communication. When we share our feelings with another person, we are not simply exchanging words, but offering a glimpse into our emotional world. This opens the door to empathy, as the listener is given the opportunity to understand not just our actions, but the internal motivations behind those actions. It is through this honesty that relationships evolve from mere interactions to meaningful connections. Being emotionally honest also cultivates trust. It is a fundamental aspect of the trust-building process. When we are transparent about our feelings, we invite others to meet us in our vulnerability. This trust is reciprocal. When others share their emotions with us, it becomes our responsibility to listen with empathy, to respond with understanding, and to honor the honesty they have entrusted to us. Emotional honesty deepens the relationship by creating a cycle of openness that fosters mutual respect and connection. Emotional honesty has the power to heal. When we withhold our emotions or deny their existence, we often carry the weight of those unspoken feelings, which can manifest in physical tension, mental strain, or relational distance. Expressing our emotions allows us to release this weight, providing clarity and emotional release. It offers an opportunity for others to offer their support or simply be a witness to our experience. The act of sharing our emotions can be a powerful form of self-care, a way of acknowledging our own humanity and inviting others to do the same. Emotional honesty does not always come easily. It can be difficult to confront our own emotions, especially when they are complex or difficult to articulate. Fear of judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding can prevent us from being open. Yet, when we do find the strength to be emotionally honest, we often experience a profound sense of relief and connection. It is in these moments that we realize that our emotions, though sometimes messy or overwhelming, are an integral part of who we are, and that sharing them with others is an act of both courage and grace. Emotional honesty is not just about expressing emotions, it is about cultivating an environment where feelings are respected and understood. It requires a willingness to be open, to trust that our vulnerability will not be used against us, and to respond to others with compassion when they choose to share their own emotional truths. In this way, emotional honesty becomes the foundation of authentic relationships, enabling us to connect with others not on the surface, but at the deepest level of our human experience. A deep connection between two people transcends the superficial and reaches into the heart of who they are. It is not merely about shared interests or common experiences, it is the unspoken understanding that exists between individuals, often formed through time, trust, and vulnerability. This kind of connection is felt, not just experienced, and it defies easy explanation because it exists beyond the typical parameters of communication. A sign of deep connection is the way two people can communicate with little more than a glance, the way silence can be comfortable, and the way their emotions can be understood without the need for elaborate words. It is an invisible thread that ties them together, a bond that remains steady even in the face of challenges or distance. At its core, a deep connection is about being seen and understood in ways that go beyond surface-level interactions. When two people are truly connected, they have a sense of each other's inner world, even if they haven't explicitly shared every thought or feeling. It is the way someone can intuitively know when something is wrong, simply by the subtle shifts in body language or tone of voice. This deep understanding is often the result of emotional resonance, a mutual recognition that both parties are willing to invest in the relationship with honesty, empathy, and vulnerability. It's an unspoken dialogue where actions speak louder than words, where the weight of a look, a gesture, or a shared moment holds more meaning than a conversation ever could. This connection doesn't necessarily require constant interaction or presence. It is not defined by how often you see each other or how many experiences you share. Rather, it is sustained by the depth of understanding and the emotional bond that exists even when you are apart. A deep connection survives through time and space, and it's marked by a level of comfort and trust that allows each person to be their authentic self without fear of judgment. It's a bond that can withstand differences, challenges, and misunderstandings because the foundation of the connection is rooted in something far more enduring than surface-level alignment. It is rooted in mutual respect, empathy, and an unspoken commitment to each other's well-being. In a truly deep connection, the individuals involved don't just see each other for who they are in the moment, but they understand each other's pasts, their fears, their dreams, and the intricate workings of their minds. It's the kind of relationship where vulnerability isn't met with criticism, but with compassion and understanding. This sense of being accepted, not for what you can offer or how you present yourself, but for who you truly are, is one of the most profound aspects of a deep connection. It allows people to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to grow, knowing that they are still valued and loved for their essence, not just their actions. The beauty of a deep connection is that it often goes beyond what is said. It is in the small moments of shared joy, the silent presence in times of sorrow, the ability to communicate without the need for constant words. It is a bond that doesn't seek to control or manipulate, but rather to support and uplift. People in a deeply connected relationship often know exactly what the other person needs, even if they haven't said a word, because there is an intuitive understanding that has developed over time. It is a relationship where the emotional landscape is shared, not in the form of demands, but as a space where both individuals feel comfortable navigating their experiences together. In these relationships, a deep connection can often be felt more than it is spoken. It is a subtle understanding that no matter what happens, no matter where life leads, the bond remains. It is rooted in respect, compassion, and a shared desire to truly understand and support one another, creating a powerful force that can endure the challenges of life. Risk and reciprocity are two interwoven concepts that play a fundamental role in the dynamics of human relationships. Every time we engage with another person on a deeper level, we face the inherent risk of being vulnerable. This risk is not just about exposing our emotions or thoughts, but also about allowing another person access to our trust, our time, and even our sense of security. When we open up to someone, we are essentially placing a part of ourselves in their hands, hoping that it will be met with understanding, care, and respect. The risk is not just in the act of sharing, but in the uncertainty of how the other person will respond. Will they honor what we've shared, or will they disregard it? Will they appreciate our vulnerability, or will they exploit it? This risk is not a one-way street. It requires reciprocity to truly flourish. Reciprocity is the idea that in a healthy relationship, both individuals contribute to the dynamic in ways that are mutually beneficial. When one person takes a risk by sharing something personal, the other person must respond in kind by offering trust, empathy, and understanding. If one person is continually the giver while the other is the receiver, the relationship becomes unbalanced and may begin to feel transactional or unfulfilling. Reciprocity ensures that there is a flow of emotional investment between the two individuals where each party is willing to engage and support the other in turn. The idea of risk in a relationship can sometimes be seen as a gamble, an uncertain endeavor where the stakes are high. The more personal or vulnerable the information being shared, the greater the potential for hurt if the other person fails to reciprocate with empathy or respect. But it is in this very risk that relationships deepen and grow. Every time we choose to share something intimate, we are giving the other person the opportunity to prove themselves trustworthy, to meet us with compassion and care. This creates a foundation upon which the relationship can expand, becoming more complex and meaningful with each exchange. Reciprocity, in its most authentic form, involves more than just responding in kind. It requires a sensitivity to the other person's needs, a willingness to engage with their emotions and experiences in a way that shows respect for their vulnerability. It is not merely about offering a return of favors or gestures. It is about matching the emotional investment with something equally genuine. When both people are willing to take risks and offer vulnerability, and when they are both equally committed to reciprocating that trust and openness, the relationship becomes a safe space where both individuals can grow and evolve together. But reciprocity is not always immediate. Sometimes it takes time for one person to feel safe enough to offer the same level of vulnerability they have received. The risk of opening up is not always rewarded right away. It can take patience and understanding for someone to feel comfortable enough to share their own thoughts and feelings. The key is to remain open and patient, recognizing that trust and reciprocity are processes, not instantaneous exchanges. The balance of risk and reciprocity is what forms the backbone of enduring relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, or friendships. Both risk and reciprocity require a certain amount of emotional maturity, the willingness to understand that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but an invitation for deeper connection. It also demands the maturity to recognize that true reciprocity is not transactional, but an ongoing, evolving exchange where both individuals are continually investing in each other's well-being, offering their trust and vulnerability in turn. This cycle of giving and receiving creates a relationship that is dynamic, resilient, and deeply meaningful. Compassion is the quiet, steady force that nurtures relationships, allowing them to flourish with understanding, kindness, and emotional depth that goes beyond mere empathy, which involves recognizing and understanding the emotions of others. Compassion involves actively engaging with those emotions in a way that fosters healing, growth, and connection. It is a response to someone else's pain or joy, and it creates a space where both individuals feel safe to express their true selves. Compassion is not just about feeling for someone, it is about acting with care and consideration to alleviate suffering or to celebrate their triumphs. When compassion is present in a relationship, it allows both individuals to be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. Vulnerability can be an uncomfortable experience as it requires individuals to expose themselves emotionally and reveal parts of themselves they may prefer to keep hidden. Without compassion, this vulnerability can feel like a risk too great to take, as the fear of being misunderstood or dismissed looms large. Compassion provides the emotional safety net needed to encourage openness. When someone shares their struggles, dreams, or uncertainties, compassion acts as a bridge, helping them navigate the complexities of their feelings and experiences. Instead of focusing on fixing the situation, compassionate individuals are present with the person, offering understanding and emotional support that validates their experience. Compassion also allows us to respond to the struggles of others without rushing to provide solutions or impose judgments. Often, people don't need advice or answers, they need to feel heard. Compassion involves listening with patience, holding space for the other person to express themselves fully without interruption or criticism. It means offering a gentle response that acknowledges their emotional state and reflects their feelings back to them in a way that makes them feel understood. It is through this process that relationships grow deeper as both individuals begin to see each other not just on a superficial level, but through the lens of shared human experience. This role of compassion in fostering deep connections is particularly powerful in times of hardship or stress. When people are facing challenges, whether they are personal, relational, or external, they often feel isolated or misunderstood. Compassion bridges this gap, providing a foundation of emotional support that reminds them they are not alone in their struggles. By showing care for their emotional well-being, compassion helps to lighten the burden of suffering, offering both comfort and hope in difficult times. When someone is shown compassion, it helps to alleviate the weight of their burdens, even if just for a moment, making them feel less isolated in their pain. But compassion is not only needed in times of hardship, it plays an equally crucial role in moments of joy, success, and celebration. Showing compassion in these moments involves not only sharing in the joy of others, but also acknowledging the hard work, sacrifices, or challenges they may have overcome to reach that point. Compassion helps to deepen the shared experience of joy by offering recognition and appreciation for what the other person has achieved or endured. It transforms a simple celebration into a deeper, more meaningful connection, where both individuals can celebrate together in a way that strengthens their bond. Compassion is a practice that extends beyond just responding to others' emotions. It is about cultivating a mindset of kindness and understanding in all interactions. It requires us to be attuned to the needs of others, to notice when someone is struggling even when they don't say anything, and to act in ways that support their emotional needs. It is a continuous effort to put ourselves in others' shoes and approach them with a sense of care, whether or not they explicitly ask for it. Compassion doesn't wait for others to ask for help. It reaches out in quiet, subtle ways that express love, care, and respect. In relationships, compassion is what makes all other forms of connection, vulnerability, trust, and intimacy possible. Without compassion, these elements would lack the emotional warmth and security that makes them endure. Compassion is the thread that ties all human interactions together, ensuring that we respond to each other not only with understanding, but with a genuine desire to ease suffering and nurture growth. It is, in many ways, the heartbeat of meaningful relationships, offering a source of connection that transcends words and actions, grounding us in the shared experience of being human. Emotional investment is a crucial element in the development and sustainability of any meaningful relationship. It refers to the degree to which a person invests their feelings, time, and energy into another individual or connection. Unlike superficial exchanges that may revolve around practical or surface-level interactions, emotional investment is about offering one's emotional resources, vulnerability, attention, care, and empathy in a way that fosters deeper connections. It is not simply about being present in a relationship, it is about being truly engaged, sharing in both the highs and lows, and contributing to the emotional well-being of the other person. A measure of emotional investment is often reflected in the consistency and depth of one's actions. People show their emotional commitment through the time they spend with others, how they respond to their needs, and the extent to which they are willing to support and care for them, especially during difficult times. It is about being there not only in moments of ease and joy, but also when the relationship faces challenges or requires extra effort. The depth of emotional investment can often be gauged by how willing one is to engage in these moments of adversity, offering support, comfort, and understanding. One of the clearest indicators of emotional investment is the presence of active listening. When someone invests emotionally in another, they demonstrate attentiveness and a genuine desire to understand the other person's perspective. It is not about offering solutions or advice, but about truly hearing and validating the emotions of the other person. Active listening requires patience and emotional availability. It involves being present in the moment, putting aside distractions, and fully focusing on the other person's needs. This level of engagement speaks volumes about the emotional energy someone is willing to invest in a relationship. Another measure of emotional investment is the willingness to be vulnerable and share one's own emotions. Emotional investment is not a one-way street, it involves a reciprocal exchange. When someone shares their feelings, challenges, and desires with another, they are offering a piece of themselves. The person who receives this emotional openness and responds with care and understanding is investing emotionally as well. This exchange builds a deeper sense of connection and trust, as both individuals see and accept each other for who they truly are, flaws and all. The vulnerability of sharing one's emotional world creates a bond that goes beyond surface interactions, allowing both people to feel that they are valued for their true selves. Over time, the level of emotional investment in a relationship becomes more apparent. Relationships that lack emotional investment may feel shallow or disconnected, as there is no true engagement beyond the surface. However, when both parties are fully emotionally invested, the connection is stronger and more resilient. There is a shared history of care, mutual respect, and understanding that sustains the relationship through difficult moments. The measure of emotional investment can also be seen in how conflicts are handled. In relationships with a high level of emotional engagement, both individuals are more likely to approach disagreements with a desire to understand the other person's perspective, finding solutions that honor both people's feelings. Emotional investment is a reflection of how much someone is willing to contribute to the growth and well-being of another person. It is shown through actions, words, and an ongoing commitment to fostering a deep, meaningful connection. When someone is truly emotionally invested, they are not merely participating in the relationship, they are nurturing it, prioritizing the emotional needs of both themselves and the other person, and continually reinforcing the bond that holds them together. Risk and reciprocity are integral in maintaining balance within relationships, reminding us that connection is a two-way street where both parties contribute emotionally. Emotional investment, meanwhile, measures the depth of our commitment to those around us, indicating the degree to which we prioritize and care for others. Together, these elements form the core of healthy, enduring relationships, ones that are rooted in authenticity, mutual respect, and a genuine desire to support each other through both challenges and triumphs. Relationships built on these principles are not just a reflection of who we are, but also a source of strength, growth, and shared humanity.